All set. Good evening and welcome to the November 7th Town Council meeting. If you'd kindly rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For announcements, the town office will be closed on Monday, November 11th in observance of Veterans Day. And to the members of our military, past and present, we thank you for your service. Our upcoming council meetings are Thursday, November 21st, Thursday, December 5th, and Thursday, December 19th, all at 7 p.m. here in the Matthew Thornton Room. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'd like to echo your thanks to our military members in the community, both past and present. I want to thank them for their service. And check with the VFW or the Legion to see what time the parade or wreath laying will be. Next Wednesday, November 13th, Public Works will need to close Kids Cove Playground for a day to make some repairs inside the playground, as well as complete fall cleanup. The playground should reopen on Thursday, November 14th. We do have the mobile sign down there with that. The Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustments are seeking volunteers to serve each board. The Planning Board currently has 3 vacant positions. The Zoning Board of Adjustment has 1 vacant position. Serving on the Planning Board or Zoning Board of Adjustments is a great way to give back to your community with a low to moderate time commitment. Interested residents should contact Becky Thompson in the Town Manager's office at 603-424-2331 or the Community Development Department at 603-424-3531 for more information about the responsibility involved in each board and position. The Senior Information Fall Fair will be held on Wednesday, November 20th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Adult Community Center located at 4 Church Street. Many organizations from our local area will be on hand to answer some of our important questions. And new this year, we will have some Merrimack High School students to help out with social media, email, tablets, and cell phone questions. Finally, the annual food drive is taking place now through December 31st. Non-expired canned food and non-perishable items accepted in the following locations: Highway and Equipment Maintenance Complex at 76 Turkey Hill Road, Central Fire Station at 432 Daniel Webster Highway, Police Department at 31 Babuzik Lake Road, the Library at 470 Daniel Webster Highway, Public Works Administration or the lower level of Town Hall at 6 Babuzik Lake Road, upper level of Town Hall at 6 Babuzik Lake Road where you register your vehicles, Transfer Station in the Recycling Building at 1 Farron Road. Some suggested donations include toiletries and hygiene products, applesauce, juice boxes, canned soups, macaroni and cheese, pasta, canned tuna, canned fruits, and vegetable crackers, cereal, bottled water, baby formula, diapers, and baby wipes. Donations will be brought to the Tude Food Pantries in Merrimack, St. John Newman, and St. James United Methodist Church. Thank you in advance for your donations. That's all I have for announcements. If I could ask that the public hearing get moved up front, Deputy Chief Charlton has another commitment. So if we can get that done rather quickly, that would be great. I'm sure he'd appreciate that as well, if it's okay with the library trustees.
So I'm going to first go through comments from the present public. If you'd like to address the council, you can do so by stepping to the mic and seeing none. We have no recognitions, resignations, or retirements, so we're going right up without objection to the public hearing. Council will hold a hearing to consider the acceptance and expenditure of a donation of $20,000 from the Merrimack Crime Line for the Merrimack Police Department for the restoration of the department's DARE vehicle pursuant to RSA 31:95B and Charter Article 8, Section 15. Oh, perfect.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that. Am I on now?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll make it quick because I appreciate you letting me do this first. So I appreciate the opportunity to present this donation, very generous donation from Crime Line. I don't know how many of you folks, I think everybody's probably familiar with our DARE car. So just a little history on that. We've had the car since 1995. Ron Catchy, if anyone remembers Ron, he was he was an officer with our department for a number of years. He was our DARE officer. He was the one that actually found this car. I think it was in Massachusetts, and that's where the restoration undertaking the whole concept started. We used to have, I think it was an old Chevy station wagon originally. It was like an 80s vintage station wagon that they were using for DARE. But Ron saw this car and saw a good opportunity because it was very rare. It's a 1957 Chevy sedan delivery. There was only about 3,000 of these cars made. Car was originally from Utah. People confuse it with a Nomad. A lot of people have gotten into back and forth with Ron. They think it's a Nomad. It's not. So anyways, we've had the car, and the restoration was a collaboration between Ron Catchy, the guys at Highway. Back then it was Brian Friolet, Jim Graham, and Ron Bergeron. So those gentlemen, there's a lot of time that was donated and volunteered to get the car fixed. And Jim Bailey was also involved in the project as well. He did the paint job. But I can speak to this. I've been with the department since '95, so it's been a while. The paint is starting to peel. The rust is starting to come through. And everyone's been asking us, and understandably so, because it's a big PR piece for the PD, if we're going to restore it. And restoration work nowadays is not cheap. It's very, very expensive. And so we looked around. We tried to find a place that would specialize in this type of car, this year in particular. It's a very rare car. It's an unusual car. And that's how we came about RMR Restorations in Hollis. We brought the car there. The minute we pulled in, everybody from inside literally came out. There was guys crawling under the car looking at it. They were really excited about doing the restoration work on this. And we settled with them. We asked around a couple other body shop places. A lot of them couldn't fit us in. Another local garage, remain nameless. I don't think he wants me to name him, but he tried to do the work for us, but he had to prioritize insurance jobs, which I understand. That's how he makes his money. So that went back and forth for a better part of 3 years, and we're like, all right, we gotta do something else here. So that's how we settled with RMR. The estimate was higher than 20. I worked with the folks there. We got it down to 20. They're so excited about this project. A lot of the guys that are there are going to be donating their time. I went in, I saw their shop. The place is really nice. They do great work, and we just think doing this is going to be a good thing, because back in the day, we used to take this car to car shows. When Burger King was the old Burger King, Ron Catchy would go there. It was a huge thing to have the car there. Everybody loved the car, and people still love the car. As a matter of fact, there was a gentleman about a month ago came, and he wanted to do a photo shoot with his 57 convertible and our car in the front parking lot. So he took some pictures of the car. So he's going to be sending me those pictures. So anyways, we're looking to get back into car shows. One of our detectives, Kevin Manueli, he's kind of a car nut. He is very excited about getting this car restored because he can go to car shows. Again, it's a PR tool, and also we're going to use it as a recruitment piece as well. So we're really excited about it. It's just, as far as the restoration, it's just the body work. If we threw the interior in there, it would have been a lot more money. And so we'll get by with the interior, but the body is the main issue right now. So we get that back. I think we're going to stick with the black and white, and I think we're going to letter it up like an old car, which will be a different door shield, and maybe the lettering on it will be more old school to go along with the car. So, but that's kind of my pitch.
Excellent.
I'd also like to just really quick thank Crime Line. Bill Behrens is here. I think everybody knows Bill. They have been so good to us for so many years. The amount of money that they've donated to the police department for whatever we need, they've always been there for us. This is a huge chunk of change, and they didn't even hesitate to give us this money. And they are looking for new membership. And one other plug, Merrimack TV just did a Merrimack Moment on Crime Line. I would encourage everybody to watch it. It's going to be going on Facebook. And I think they're going to be posting it in different ways as well. But it's good. They did an awesome job. I watched it, and it talks about what the organization is all about, how they benefit the PD, how they benefit the town, but they need membership because they've had some members leave. It's a volunteer program. So I would encourage everybody to watch it, share it, and whatever you can do to plug Crime Line would be greatly appreciated. So that's all I have, if anyone's got any questions.
Anybody have any questions on that? No. Well, it's a public hearing, so I'm going to open the public hearing at 7:16. If anybody would like to speak to this, they can step to the mic or sit next to Matt. Long time no see, Bill.
Yeah, it's a long time. I've been in town for 39 years. Bill Behrens from 25 Island Drive. And I've been a member of the Crime Line going on 26 years as a volunteer. We stand ready to take care of Matt's request to get the car restored. I just happened to say I got that checkbook right here with me, and it's check number 757 is the next number on the list to be delivered. And no better way to write a check out for $20,000 than to restore a 1957 66-year-old vehicle, you know. So we're happy to be able to support them. And as you know, the Crime Line is looking for more members, and Paul, you might add that into your list of groups of people that are looking for help on the groups here. But appreciate the time to be able to present our position, and we're glad to be able to support the police department any way we can. You got any questions for me? No.
Nope, just thank you for all you do and the efforts Crime Line puts in. It's been a great organization.
Yeah, well, we're all volunteers. None of us are police officers, and we know how to support these guys in any way we can. So
Appreciate it.
the quicker you say yes, the quicker I can write out this check.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Bill. Anybody else like to further address this? Seeing no one coming forward, I'll close the public hearing at 7:18. And what's the pleasure of the council?
I'll make a motion to
Oh,
accept a donation of $20,000 from the Merrimack Crime Line to the Merrimack Police Department for restoration work on the department's 1957 Chevrolet sedan delivery dare car, and authorize the town manager to sign any documents and extend our sincere thanks to Crime Line for their efforts and support.
Motion by Tom Koenig,
Second.
seconded by Jennifer. Any further discussion on the motion? No? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstained? 700.
Write the check.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right.
I'm running out of ink, so I gotta get it quick.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
Write the check. It'll be in the
All right,
mail
I guess we weren't fast enough. I got a pen for him.
You got a nice check? You got a nice pen for me?
Got a nice pen for you.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it.
Okay,
And I'll make a note of it in there for you.
there you go.
All righty. We'll move back up to our regular order and under appointments today, we have the Library Board of Trustees to provide an update to the council. And we have Yvette and Deborah here. Welcome.
Hi,
Good
nice
evening.
to see you all again. I'm Deborah Koval. I'm the chair of the Library Board of Trustees. I'm here with Yvette Kauser, our library director. We have some other trustees here as well. We have Janet Krupp, the treasurer, and Aaron Clement is with us. So we look forward to telling you about the library this time of year. This seems to be when we start to see you a lot during this in budget season. So we're just going to tell you about some of the things that are going on, but please feel free to stop us and ask us questions along the way. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our building. Before I begin listing all the things that have been done to the building, I do want to just mention that, as you might recall, a few years ago, we did do a site study to look at where a possible future new library would be, and I would be remiss not to mention that that still is something that, of course, the trustees and myself as a citizen and resident of Merrimack would love to see for our community in the future. But we are taking care of the current building we're in and trying to be good stewards of that. So to that end, we are done with the elevator refurbishment project. It was completed, including wrapping the doors and door frames. We are also, of course, it's like, in an old house, when you start to do repairs, you find all the other things that are going on. So they did discover a leak in the elevator pit, which we are getting taken care of. We've been working through a punch list of projects that the retro commissioning agent identified when they came through and assessed our HVAC. We definitely have some issues with the HVAC system, and rather than just do a full replacement, we had them come in and they looked at different valves and things that we could change to make the controls work more properly. And we do want to come up with a systematic way of taking care of the needs of that system rather than just thinking we have to replace the whole thing. We also replaced the stair treads in the main stairwell. They were original to the 1979 edition, so that's been a nice upgrade. The slate roof was repaired. There's some initial maintenance work that was done on the flat roof, and the library is going to be receiving a maintenance plan and timeline so we can keep up with that. There's a sprinkler system inspection took place, and repairs to the sprinkler system have been undergone. So we've had a lot going on. And in addition to that, we of course want to thank DPW. They removed a tree at the entrance, which we greatly appreciate. And we also want to thank Kelly Veluzzi in finance. She's been very helpful with the RFPs and coordinating walkthroughs for the different vendors for the things that we've been undertaking. And also Jonathan Diaz, who has been giving us recommendations and helping with our network security, the speaker announcement system, and other technical upgrades. So there's been a lot being done, and I've heard from people as they walk in that they love the way it looks, and we're really happy to know that we're taking care of some of the structural things that have been just on the table for a while now and getting it to a good, stable place, we hope. So.
Wonderful. Keeping up with the maintenance is very important.
Yeah, we have to. We are stewards of this building. It's a part of the town, and of course we want people to also feel comfortable and safe when they're in there, so it's many things. Yvette.
Thanks, Deb. I'm going to talk about some services and programs, the collection, outreach, and our staff, and then it will go back to Deb. When I was looking through the calendar to kind of review what services and programs we did, this was the year of the eclipse, and that was, it seems like it was years ago now, but we handed out hundreds and hundreds of solar glasses that were donated to us by some of the schools, and so we were able to participate in that and provide glasses to anyone who wanted a pair, and we all ran outside and looked at it and took turns looking at it, but that was one thing. Last year, I had mentioned that we had updated our catalog with a product called Aspen. This year, we built out the website from that catalog. So it's, more user-friendly. It's more adaptable to different devices, across different devices. It's a lot easier to manage. We've got several of the staff who, including myself, who do the updates on the website pages, but that's a nice upgrade too. In addition, when we updated the website, we also updated the event calendar that we use for booking rooms. It's used to reserve museum passes, passport application appointments, and that's something that works better with the new product, with the new website. So we moved from one calendar to another calendar. The passport appointments, speaking of passport appointments, those are currently on hold because we're a little short-staffed right now, and we've just got staff redirected to their traditional library tasks. We also now use a Square terminal so that we can allow patrons to pay with a card. This is another thing that in our consortium was part of upgrades that that we had discussed as a consortium board. I was out in the community. I spoke to the Rotary Club of Merrimack and to the Merrimack Lions Club, just giving them updates on library services and other things going on in the library. And I want to thank Merrimack TV. They obviously are wonderful recording all of the trustee meetings so that we have a record of that for the public. They also came out to the library and were doing some interviews and a little piece on a singer-songwriter folk song singer-songwriter event that we had very recently, and that was really very kind of them to come out and just try and put something together for us quickly. Big news in library land is that the Leach Library in Londonderry has now joined our consortium. So you can use your library card in Londonderry. You can request items that you will now see in our catalog. They'll say Londonderry, or they'll say Leach. So that's really nice to have them aboard. They just came aboard last month. Seed collection continues to be really popular. We're working with the Merrimack Garden Club and the Moose Mountain Seed Savers to harvest seeds now. Now is the time you're harvesting your seeds, drying them, packing them, and putting them back in the collection. We had one seed sowing program with members of the Garden Club. We're having another one, and then we're also going to have a winter sowing program. So if people are curious, if maybe you've heard about winter sowing, you want to get a head start on your plantings, you can get some seeds from the library and plant them. You put them outside on a deck or on the ground in plastic jugs or other kinds of plastic containers, and then they get a little bit of a jump start and cold stratification, so you're ready for spring. And so we're going to be working with Garden Club again with that. If you come into our building and you go downstairs to the children's room, you might notice that the nonfiction collection is different. The books are all basically in the same location, but the classification is now not Dewey, but it's more in neighborhoods. So if someone comes in and says, I want a book on cars, then it'll be more like automobiles or vehicles and not, I don't know what the number is for cars. You probably know.
629 foot now.
I don't know because I just pay the bills. But it was just a very long project that our youth services department worked on to try and make the collection a little more easier to manage for kids and families. You know, we live in the numbers world with Dewey, not the numbers world, not like Janet's numbers world. I should take that back. I should rephrase. You know, but you know, in libraries we are used to the Dewey classification and where things are, but you know, other people aren't, amazingly. So it just makes it a lot easier for them to navigate, and it makes it a more welcoming space. So if you're curious about what the neighborhoods look like, please come down. Kathy Walter, our head of youth services, who spearheaded this project, would be happy to give you a tour. She's given me a tour. It is very impressive. Just another thing on collection development, just to let people know, you know, we have a collection development policy. Everything, you know, the reasons and the processes of how we manage our collection, select items, DSS items, it's all written out. If anyone ever has a question on why we collect this or that thing, it's all written down and it's there. If someone has a question or a concern about something that we've collected, we also have a process for that, and forms are available on the website. Some other things, new in terms of like community partnerships and outreach, we have now on site Narcan boxes, one upstairs, one downstairs. This decision was supported by the Merrimack Police and the Merrimack Fire Chief. Staff have been fully trained in Narcan, how to administer it. It's not mandatory for staff to do so. You know, we had some very excellent training from Lisa Vasquez and two of her colleagues from the Nashua Division of Public Health and Community Services, as well as Detective Bill Vanderside from MPD was on site for this training. And this was something, you know, again, the staff had researched for a very long time, brought it to the board, brought back questions, and they actually did meet with Lisa Vasquez from Nashua Division of Public Health as well. So that's something that is available. Hope we never need to use it, but it's there. We continue to serve as a pickup location for residents who participate in the Farm Share CSA program, providing local produce. We hosted a table at the Hot Dogs for ALZ event and we loan them 20 tables. We have a lot of tables. And so we're happy to loan them out. We loan them out to Hot Dogs for ALZ. We loan them out to the Merrimack Garden Club, just because they are a partner, with us as well, with the beautiful gardens that they care for us. So we're happy to do that with them. We have offered several events for homeschoolers. That is definitely a population we want to serve, and they are responding, and that's wonderful. And we will have an Operation Santa tree when I hear from the lions and the lionesses that they're ready to put them up. It's usually right after Thanksgiving. We will have one. Moving on to staff. I will be continuing my term as the GML Consortium President through June 2025. So this has been 3 years, plus I finished the previous president's term when she retired. So that's been, it's been really nice to work with my peers that way, really nice. I want to recognize Alyssa Jobin, who is our head of patron services. She was accepted in the New Hampshire Library Association Emerging Leaders Cohort. This is a new cohort from NHLA, from our professional association in the state, and was recognized at our annual business meeting yesterday in Plymouth. And that was just wonderful. There are about 6 young professionals who were recognized as emerging leaders. We're very proud of her. Joanne Marston, who worked at the library for 24 years, retired in October. And that's amazing that she's had a career that long, but we wish her well in her retirement. And on December 1st, the state librarian, Michael York, is going to be retiring after 42 years of working in New Hampshire libraries.
Okay, back to me with just a few things about the board. We held a retreat to set some of our goals for the year. We actually welcomed some new board members as Jen stepped onto this board. We were lucky enough to have Erin Clement join our board, and we were also grateful that Ruth Marie Swisher has chosen to join us for another year as an alternate. So we're very happy about that. We feel like we have a very strong board. We're finishing up our strategic plan with Deb Hoadley, who's a consultant and library director and former library trustee. We've been working on creating a staff salary schedule. As we've talked about in years past, we were working to get our staff salaries to a place that was in line with local communities, that was competitive. And now we are ready to put something in place that shows people that when you are hired, this is the steps that you will be able to go up. We are following in the footsteps of what the town has maybe talked about, and that people will we did some comparisons similar to what the town has done, and we just want to be able to provide staff with a framework and also future trustee boards with a starting place so that every year it's not like we're coming back to the drawing board and trying to start over, so people can know what's going to happen as they go forward. So we are going to be looking at that, hoping to get that approved and then incorporate that into the budget, which we will begin working on with the goal of meeting it for Paul's deadline. So that is our current on our agenda thing that we're trying to take care of. We are very grateful to all the people who continue to support the library, both through donations and through their time. We want to thank Dr. Quimby for his ongoing memorial fund in honor of his son, Barry Quimby. We also are grateful for the donations from the Lions and Lioness Club for funds which stock the Caring Cupboard that we partner with Laura's World Fund for. We also want to thank Steve and Denise Buck, who donated a pass to the Seacoast Science Center to us. Of course, we are grateful for the Friends of the Library and for the Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee, both of who are also always looking for people in the community who are interested in getting involved. And of course, the Merrimack Garden Club, because they do a wonderful job with the grounds. We invite you to stop by the library anytime just to see what's there, to get a tour, to walk around. We would welcome you gladly, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Just comments, yes.
I'm not surprised.
I just want to say it's no surprise. I'm a big fan of the library. I encourage everyone on the town council to take time to stop in and see the library, especially if you haven't been in a while. There's been a lot of, as they went over, a lot of changes and a lot of exciting things. They didn't talk about the library of things, which loans out all sorts of different things, from a pressure washer to puzzles to game consoles. So just want to say, great job. It's a huge list of accomplishments for the year.
Thanks.
Great, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. It'll be before, yes. Thank you.
So-
than we want.
Yes. All right, next is updates from our legislative delegation. See nobody in the audience. Nancy?
I just want to thank all of the voters that came out the other day to elect state representatives, and we appreciate all the votes that I received, and I know the other representatives do as well. And looking forward to continuing the work we've started, and we'll be back in a couple of months. We'll be back full time. So, just on behalf of I think all of us, thank you. And it was really a wonderful thing to see the turnout of voters the other day, the number of new voters, and it went really well. And I encourage everybody, if you're on social media, to look on the Positive Forum. There was a post by one of our residents. It was a woman named Sophia, and she talked about her experience there at JMU's. And it is heartwarming and wonderful, and I think everybody should read it. And I say thank you, Tara Noonan, for showing everybody what Merrimack is all about. So,
Excellent. Thank you, Nancy. All right, and you got no emails from anybody?
You got no emails.
All right, thanks, Paul. Town manager's report.
Nancy stole my thunder. So, I have some facts and figures for the council and the residents of Merrimack. I want to thank the 17,768 residents who came out to vote. Of that, we had 1,810 new people register that day. We now have 20,815 registered voters in the town. We had an 85.4% turnout in the town of Merrimack.
85.4.
85.4% voter turnout.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
that's awesome. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm a little disappointed. I was over on my number. I said we'd have 18,000 people vote.
We
So
only had
as a-
18,000 ballots.
Yeah, I know. I thought we were going to run out. We were actually, during the day, we were talking about what would happen if we were going to come close to running out of ballots. And there were a lot of contingency plans, including which copiers would be used to print the ballots, or if we could borrow some from another community. So, no, I want to thank everybody who did come out and vote. It's great to see democracy in action. St. Cobain. So I met with St. Cobain. I met with their team that is going to demolish the building. For those that do not know, St. Cobain is going to raise the building. It is not going to be raised in a day. That is a very large building. They're going to be taking some of it down in phases. You're going to be seeing some work done on DW Highway that is related to St. Cobain. They have to shut off the natural gas. They have to shut off the electricity. They have to shut off the water. They have to shut down the sewer before they can start raising the building. There is asbestos in the building that they have to remediate before. And the asbestos basically relates to, since the building was built in the 70s, the tile, the mastic tile. So they have to abate that. They're following all the DES rules as it becomes regulations as abatements. None of the demolition materials will end up in the town of Merrimack's transfer station. They have contracted with a contractor who will be following the proper procedures of disposing of asbestos, the metals, everything. So nothing will show up at the transfer station. It is all going to wherever, landfill, whatever they need to do with it. And they will follow EPA and DES rules as to disposal. This is going to take some time once again. The building will probably be standing for a long time. You're going to see some pretty big, heavy pieces of equipment come in. They have a excavator with a 100-foot boom. So that's a pretty big piece of equipment that comes in on 3 tractor-trailer trucks. So they're moving forward. They probably will not see the building down before December of 2025. That is their goal, to take it, to have it down by then. So that is going on at St. Cobain as well. And the other avenue with St. Cobain, they're still dealing with New Hampshire DES on the other portions of the cleanup on the property, which are with them and the state and DES. So that's all that I have for manager's report tonight. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
I think we're good. All right, no, very good. So, thank you, Paul. We have nothing on the consent agenda tonight, and number one, under old business, we're having a follow-up discussion regarding the Merrimack volunteer policy. We had a couple things that we had to
Yep.
get ironed out.
We heard you. We went back to our legal counsel, and we adjusted the form for volunteers. We're not asking for jobs and filling out like an application. We really made the permit a lot more easy for individuals. It's really a service statement that they'll follow the town policies and procedures. They're acquainted with the task, and they have the skill and ability to perform said task. So we really condensed this form. And then there will be a section where it's accepted by a direct supervisor, the person who's in charge of the cleanup, a department head, and then the town manager, and it will be kept on the town of Merrimack. It'll be kept in the town manager's office. We really condensed the volunteerism for parental consent. That was in the last package. So we really did hear what the council had to say, and we've done a lot of cleanup and made the policy a lot less onerous to volunteer. Sharon has the information about pop-up volunteerisms, meaning that it goes out on Facebook, hey, we're having a cleanup session on Saturday. Come help us. So, Sharon, if you want to talk to that, please.
There we go. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Sharon.
So for the person who wants to stop by a weekend cleanup or something like that, the only thing that's required, and it is for volunteers by law, we're supposed to have this service agreement. So it's just that quick form that you see in your packet for an adult. And then for the volunteer youth, it's the same, it's a different form, but very short. The only requirement is for a supervisor to sign. So it's recommended that a town employee be that supervisor. But on the case of a weekend, if the town council, or you want to leave the town manager to make that decision, if there's a board chair there, they could be the person that's entrusted with that. It's, the town attorney just suggested that being an employee and being responsible to the town and having a background check and all that, be the responsible person to approve a volunteer, but that's up to the council.
Okay.
So if our park is having a XYZ cleanup day, we'd hope that one of the members from the Merrimack Conservation Commission is down there, and we would delegate that authority to that person to be able to get this form filled out. They'll still give it to community development, and then community development will give it to the town manager, and we'd keep it up at in the town's manager's office.
But it's something they could do day of?
Day of, yes.
So they don't have to be delegated at that day. It would be an assumed delegation if there's somebody from the Conservation Commission is there. Is that what I'm understanding?
We would assume that, yes, if they're having that cleanup, they,
So
we'd
we
at
would-
least know a little bit about it before it's a, hey, come out on Friday, come out on Saturday to do this.
They don't have to get that authority.
They don't
from-
have to get that
they-
authority.
they-
It would be assumed.
Thank you, Paul. Jennifer?
So, some of that is gonna be subcommittees. Is that sufficient if it's the chair of the subcommittee, or it would need to be the chair of the actual Conservation Commission?
On most of those committees, I believe there is a full-time member to the Conservation Commission that's been vetted by the town council. So they would be the ones that would be signing in that case. It'd be whoever the commission, Merrimack Conservation Commission member is, would be signing, because they would be there as part of that subcommittee.
Thank you.
The only other question I have is on youth volunteers, the very first lowercase I there says youth volunteers are persons aged 12 to 18. Should that be 12 to 17? If I look through the rest of the document, it all addresses up to age 17. And I don't know if an 18-year-old is actually considered a youth.
We
That's
could put
we
up
could
to
put
18.
17, yeah.
We could put 17 or up to 18
Through 17.
through 17. Yes, we can make that change. And the reason why it's 12 to 17 is we have to follow DOL, Department of Labor laws, even if they're volunteering, these individuals. If they went to school that week, they can only they can only volunteer so many hours. So if somebody is 16, has a part-time job, and wants to volunteer, we have to weigh all the hours that they've worked, so to
So we
speak.
have to know there.
So but we have to follow DOL regulations with the youth volunteers. Not so much with adults, but youth, yes.
So, all right. Yeah, anybody have further questions? Well, I guess what's the pleasure of the council, Nancy?
Are we just looking for a motion to approve this? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, we need a motion to approve with the change that was made tonight.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the volunteer policy with the one correction on the age of what defines a youth.
And I'll make a second.
Motion by Andy, seconded by Mackenzie. Any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose or abstain? 700.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Sharon.
We'll get that in your sign file, the clean copy to sign.
Great. Item 2 under old business, the council to hold our follow-up discussion regarding impact fees within the town of Merrimack pursuant to RSA 674:21, Roman numeral V.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I had the pleasure to speak with an individual who does impact fees throughout the state of New Hampshire. It was very enlightening what our conversation that we had. I believe at the last meeting, the council asked me to see how much an impact fee would cost. I thought that was going to be the easy part of the conversation. That was, he said, before I can give you a fee, I have to explain what exactly you can get from an impact fee. I said, okay. And we talked, and basically he said, if you're doing a building, and I'm just going to use round numbers for people. If you have a building in town and it's 1,000 square feet, and you need to build a building because you're busting out at the seams, and your new need for that building is 1,500 square feet, you cannot collect an impact fee for that. So what you can collect an impact fee for is future growth. So if you have the building, you're 1,000 square feet, you're busting out at the seams, now you got to go up to 1,500 square feet, and you build in future growth of 500 square feet for 2,000. That impact would be on that 500 square feet. And there's calculations and formulas, and usually with impact fees themselves, there's a specific project in mind that's been approved and rubber stamped by the council to move forward. Either you have a bond payment already or you're going out to bond. You're not going to get the whole build out on that 2,000 square foot building. You're only going to get the impact of future 500 square feet that you're building into that building for the future for an impact fee for buildings. The planning board already does quasi-impact fees. We don't call them that. If I come in for a development and I need to improve a sidewalk, it's part of the approval process. They have to pay that. If they need to improve a road, it's part of the approval process. They have to do that. If they're putting in a new traffic light, it's part of the approval process. They have to do that. So they kind of quasi impact fee on specific projects as it relates to roads and infrastructure, water, sidewalks and the other items. So that's already being taken care of. So then I talked to him a little bit more, and he goes, every 5 to 6 years you need to review your impact fee to make sure that matches up with your CIP, capital improvement plan. So every 5 to 6 years there's a cost associated with the impact fees so that you're on track and you have a process. I said to him, okay, how much is it going to cost? He said between $12,000 and $15,000 per impact fee. The police would be 12 to 15. Fire would be 12 to 15. There's no combining.
What is that cost for?
That is the
Developing?
developing the impact fee study for future growth.
So you'd be paying that to the person to study the possibility of impact fees for certain.
Correct.
Okay.
So it would cost between $24,000 and $30,000 to develop an impact fee for the two, police and fire. And every additional impact fee you want to present would be between $12,000 and $15,000 because each one has a different mathematical formula you need to do. So if you wanted to do 4 impact fees, it could cost you between $48,000 and $60,000 in the town of Merrimack. I did do some research, and I've known we've had some big programs, big projects here in town. So Greenfield Farms started in 2017 is when they got approved. We'd already had to return the money if we didn't have if the project wasn't built. Chestnut Hill had 2 approvals. The first approval happened in 2016. The next approval happened in 2021. The difference was the extra 6 lots. And for those extra 6 lots, he had to improve the sewer. So technically, he did pay an impact fee to improve the sewer out there. Gilbert Crossing had 2 approvals. The first 5 buildings were built in 2016. It's more than 8 years ago. They got approved in 2016. The second amended for the additional 2 buildings happened in 2023. So we would have until 2029 with them. Slate Apartments, Phase 1 approved 2019. February of 2019. We're running out of time with that one. Phase 2 has not been yet approved. We'd run 6 years with Phase 2. Huntington Exchange, which is Innovation Way, was approved 2022. So we'd have some more time with them if we had impact fees in place. And Edgeo Place was 2019. So for people to say, yes, did we lose money? Yes, we did. What if we didn't have impact fees? We would have lost money if we had impact fees. But out of these projects, we'd probably have to give every one of those projects back except maybe 2 of them because we're not ready to build yet.
I mean, does the impact fee have to be used on a building?
It has to be associated with a project. We cannot use an impact fee for a fire truck unless we're buying an additional fire truck.
So if you're buying an additional fire truck, then you.
It could have been. If you're expanding your ambulance fleet, your fire fleet, your police fleet, you can use an impact fee for that as well.
Not a replacement.
But not a replacement. You cannot replace as is. It would have to be addition. And that's why that extra 500 square feet in a building, I use that for an example because that's one of the easier examples to do, is the future growth. So if you had to buy another fire truck for an expansion, that would be written in your impact fee report as well. Now, that is based on, then there's a percentage factor based on the overall growth of the town. So it wouldn't just be those 5 or 6 developments paying for that additional 500 square feet. It'd be based on a factor of the entire, this is where it got complicated, based on an entire growth of the community. It would be similar to, we could have an impact fee for highway, and if Lori needed another truck, say we have 16 trucks, she's in the audience, so Lori, that's why I'm picking on her. So if Lori needed another truck to go to 17, if we had an impact fee, we could buy that additional truck using impact money, but you're not gonna pay 100% of that truck based on what you garner for impact fees. You're still gonna have to put money into from the town. Expansion,
Just the percentage of expansion that that business
yes.
brings in.
Correct. Correct. Now, he graciously said that if the council would like this gentleman to come in to explain impact fees further after this discussion, he would be more than happy to do that. When he said that to me, I said, okay, November 7th. He goes, I'm doing the same thing up in wherever he was going. He was going Seacoast. He just finished the Dover revised, the impact fee at Dover, and they actually did away with it because what they were going to get for impact fees was minuscule. And they've had impact fees forever up in Dover, but the revised plan is minuscule. Another community, I believe it was Dover too. I believe it was Dover, he told me, built a high school. And the high school had less square footage than the previous high school. So all the money they were collecting for impact fees, they had to give back because it wasn't bigger
It
plus.
wasn't more.
It wasn't more.
expansion.
Right, it wasn't expanded, it was contracted because of what happened. So there's a lot of nuances with impact fees. Some communities are moving away from them. A community across the river, to be not named, got in trouble, and that is why the new laws and regulations are the way they are now with impact fees. So if the council would like, I know this is going to be a fourth meeting talking about impact fees, but if you'd like, I could see when he would be available to come and discuss this further, if the council wants to keep on discussing this further. But once again, he said his fee is between $12,000 and $15,000 per impact. And there aren't that many people who do this. And the gentleman I was talking to, I asked him about, the other question that came up was fiscal responsibility of these new developments. And they look at it, and he's one of the gentlemen who did both sides. He worked for us, and he works for developers. And he said that when the development comes in, it either has to be fiscal neutral or fiscal positive to the community, because the developer won't bring in a fiscal negative impact to the community. So they're always looking to be either fiscal neutral or fiscal positive, and what that means is they look at the number of kids going to school, number of town resources, meaning plowing roads, sewer, all that stuff, to come up with a fiscal responsibility. And the planning board gets that, I believe, in some of these bigger studies, and usually they're fiscal positive. They might not be fiscal positive for the town, an apartment building, because of the services we might have to provide, but they might be fiscal positive for the school. And they look at the town as a whole, between the school, MVD, and the town of Merrimack. And that's how they do the fiscal studies on these projects at these planning boards. So,
All right,
So Paul, I think that amplifies my opinion that it's not worth it for us to look further into impact fees at this point. The planning board does do as much exaction as they can when these big buildings come in to make sure that as many services as possible can be taken care of. They've looked at impact fees time and time again and decided that it just wasn't worth the overall cost and expense. Because if you're not shovel-ready, or damn near close to it, you're not likely to spend it. And if you try to go before the town to select something and it doesn't pass, you stand a strong risk of having to give that impact fee back, which is typically only about 10% at most of the cost of the project. And that's if you worked real hard to collect it from multiple people. In my opinion, that's a kind of a guess number, but so don't try to hold me to it. But I don't think it's worth it for us to look into impact fees any further, and I appreciate the time and energy you put into it. I would be opposed to spending any more time or energy on it.
I do want to also mention, I did talk on election night. Bob Best was at the election, and I grabbed him, and I gave him a heads up that the town council was talking about impact fees and things. And he kind of said, that's kind of what the planning board is supposed to look at as well. So I'm putting words in his mouth. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't quite say it that way, but
Oh, so
Tom
if the
said.
council wanted to do something, they should have gone, we should have had their input.
No. I just told him that that's what you're doing,
Right.
because what will happen is that if the council wants to move it forward with impact fees, it actually goes to the planning
Right,
board
okay.
for them to act on it and bring that back to the
The
town
recommendation.
council, just like when we did the regulation about the moratorium on mixed use. We gave them,
Right.
The
Zoning-
moratorium.
zoning changes
so it
and
would have
stuff.
to go to the planning board, and the planning board then would have
Okay.
to bring it back as part of their plan.
All right. Well, unless I hear somebody else.
I'm not gonna push the issue. I'm a very logical, common sense guy, and when I see all the other communities doing something and it's somehow working for them, and, you know, what I hear is, let's put this in the too hard to do category. It just doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not gonna fall on my sword over it either.
And fair enough, but I also see it as there are property owners who are paying taxes to the town, and I see it as an added tax, quite honestly, for me. And so that's, you know, I've never been desirous of it. I haven't been on the planning board in a long time, thank you. But I remember being on it, and it was, you know, it was something that there wasn't an interest in for a multitude of reasons, but I appreciate it. So, if there's nothing further, then we'll move on. Under new business,
Thank you.
council to be presented with the findings of the environmental study, which summarizes the results of the noise impact and abatement analysis performed by the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation Bureau of the Environment. Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to say the town council will need some help from our representatives. Nancy? Our representatives, because what I found out shocked me. So first, I tasked Dawn Tuamala to find a sound engineer. She was having.
Just the public needs to know what this is. Can you give an overall view?
Sure. Sorry. At the town council meeting on September 12th, our state representative and resident in the area, Rosemary Run, come to speak about the sound from Vista Way and Roundtree Drive area about the expansion of the highway and the sound that is coming from the highway.
Thank you.
The council tasked me to look into it. I tasked Dawn Tuamala to look into it and talk to somebody. She had a very hard time trying to find a sound engineer. Most of them already have done work with the state and said, we can't do it. We already did the work with the state. We're working with the state. We found a gentleman out of Massachusetts down by the Boston area. He said to Dawn, have you talked to DOT about this? Because I'm sure you can get what's going on. So we asked DOT for the sound studies that they did. What's appalling to me is that they passed the decibel level for being a sound barrier to be put in.
Meaning they should get.
They should get it. But they didn't pass the financial test because it would cost too much money to put a sound barrier in. It's over the financial limit of, I believe it was around $1,300.
1,300?
It was
Had to do with square feet.
13 square,
Yeah.
yeah, square feet.
Household.
Yeah, per household, 13
Since
square
one
feet.
area's only had 2 benefited receptors,
Right,
it ended up being 19,000 square feet
right.
to build for that, just 2.
Which is appalling to me. Because yes, these people did buy a house near the highway. There's no doubt about it. I bought a house near the highway too. They're expanding the highway. And I believe this was the same argument that our neighbors to the north, Bedford state senator, fought and got a bill passed for one of her communities to have the sound barriers put in. I said, what about a berm? Too expensive. Doesn't meet the requirement. So we're going to need some help from our state legislatures to write a bill expanding this to actually write this into the plan so that sound barriers can be built in that area because they definitely meet the noise level. We also looked going down further, those areas did not meet the noise levels.
So the bottom line is, we did not have to go to have a test done because we were able to find that it had already been done and that in fact did indicate that it's a higher volume than it should be.
Decibel level, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we have to ask our state representatives to step in and work on this with the New Hampshire Turnpike and DOT. And it might have to go up to become, changing the RSA with it because this is,
Well, the state has a history of doing a berm in our community.
Right.
Just north of exit 11.
correct. They put one in for that area on
Right,
Chamberlain.
They had to get
East
easements,
Chamberlain.
slope easements, I think they might have been considered in the people's property, but it did protect.
And I remember East Chamberlain.
Yes.
East Chamberlain came in because Connie Havassis was with Keith was still here. He came in and was spearheading that charge, and they got the slope. They put the mound in.
Right, and if my memory of the location serves me, it's very similar to what we have on Roundtree and Vista.
It probably
A number
very
of homes
close.
and so on. It's
Probably
not
very close.
similar, so I don't know. But yeah, help would be appreciated.
Do the
Nancy?
specific residents know the result of this?
I did not talk to the specific residents. I am bringing this forward to the council because you asked me to do a sound study.
Gotcha.
Rosemary should be made aware because she did bring it to our attention, so did you want to carry that water, Nancy?
I just want to say this is a perfect example of when the state should be meeting an expectation. They set a rule, a requirement, we meet the requirement, and they say, sorry, we don't have the money to do this. And that's just, should not be acceptable to any of us. So thank you for doing that, and I agree, that should certainly, and this is a really good time, because we can file bills now, so.
And I think we need to actually expand that bill a little bit more. Just don't include
'cause
them. I think the brick mill,
Anytime there's.
Brick Mill
exceeded-
Park.
Brick Mill
absolutely.
Park will definitely, there will be those homes on the, I don't know what that road is.
Collins or
One of them, Bellevue.
Collins, I think.
There are homes right on that highway right there
absolutely.
that are gonna be affected. There'll be a couple homes in the Mallard Point neighborhood also that will be affected if they move the road one way or the other and raise it a little bit.
Yeah, there were a few locations that were spoken to during a public hearing a few years ago.
Right.
It wasn't just that area that you're speaking of, so whatever they were.
But yeah, all the way down, I think all the way down from that exit 12 to exit 11 stretch. I think there are definitely other neighborhoods that will definitely exceed the sound now, once the trees are cut down and once the highway's expanded.
Okay, Jennifer?
Can we come up with an email to send back to the people that have emailed us with this concern, just so that they know that
what the
it's
result
been
is.
looked into it and this is where we're at?
If I can get those individuals, I'd be more than happy to
I
have
resp-
somebody draft something so that we can send it out as a group.
I had sent emails back to everybody that I receive anything from, so if you want me to
Yeah.
dig those up and forward it to you.
If you phone them
or-
to Becky, this way she can just have them all and we'll just do a blind, CC with a response saying, this is where we're going. And it sounds to me like the town council would like a letter written on behalf of the town council to our state representatives
Perfect.
and senator to proceed with, address and proceed with what they feel.
Corrective action.
There you go, better word. A corrective action plan for this in our area. And it really just doesn't have to be Merrimack, because I know there's homes in Bedford, and talking to Senator Ricciardi, she has said there are other homes that are affected in the Bedford by the widening as you come down, as well as the neighborhood she got a berm put in for, but there are other homes as well. And this isn't just, I know they're building a new housing development closer to the highway. This wouldn't be for that, so to speak. These are existing homes.
Right.
We're looking at existing homes. We're not looking at expansion
Right.
of new apartments.
All right, Nancy?
I'd be happy to file a bill if we could get maybe our attorney to help us out with the language of that. And I foresee that even us filing a bill, given the Department of Transportation, the highway.
They don't like Merrimack.
The concern is that they're already absorbing a $98,000 a year cost because of our tolls, or so they say. So I don't foresee that they'll be particularly amenable to this, but I still think it's completely appropriate, and I think we should do it. But I fully expect if they don't have the money to do that, or they're trying to divest some of its real property to us to unburden the state, that this is a burden that will, but again, entirely appropriate, so.
Might be worth talking to the senator from Bedford, because
Which
it
is-
sounds
we
like
tried.
she was
Successful.
marginally, some success, and that might be helpful.
I think it was a tack-on bill. Somebody tacked it on to
There was still language that would be useful.
Yes.
Somewhere the way we got rid of tolls.
Oh, yeah, they're getting back to us one way or the other.
Yeah, but what I'll do is, I hear, I don't wanna put words in the council's mouth. Oops. I hear, but I do not wanna put words in the council's mouth, but I hear that you would like to have a letter drafted for review at probably the next council meeting,
Perfect.
to go to the state representatives. When is the filing deadline for bills?
November 6th through 22nd for the House, and the Senate is later. But I feel pretty confident that Denise Ricciardi and I work really well on things, so
Yes.
I'm sure she'd be happy to co-sponsor in the
Yeah.
Senate, so.
Yeah, because our next meeting would be the 21st, so we'd have to move quick and get something out next week for you to be able to file by the 22nd. And actually, you could, you just would have to file it, well, meaning the representatives would have to file it on the 22nd.
We can always amend the language. It's really just a matter of holding the
spot.
space. I'll have a little more time, but to file it so that,
Yes.
to give them plenty of advance warning so they can respond.
Can't you just put the title in? Can't you just put the title of the bill in?
Well, yeah, sometimes.
I'll get that for the council.
Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Move on to item number 2. Under new business, council consider the Highway Division's request to withdraw $53,475 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a replacement hot box dump trailer. Hi, Lori.
Good evening.
Just to let you know, I'm anxious to hear what is a hot box dump trailer? Not just a lunch warming thing or something like
Didn't
that.
One big
We just-
lunchbox, yeah.
We bought our first one about 5 years ago, wasn't it? Or was that not what it was?
10 years ago.
Was it? Oh, God.
Time flies when you get
10
older.
years ago.
It is flying by.
10 years ago, yes, my predecessor, Adam Jacobs, bought a slip-in hot box. And before that, we had a trailer. I'd like to go back to the trailer. It's definitely much more efficient and user-friendly. So we're having issues with the slide-in hot box. Although it's not a trailer, you have your safety issues when you're driving a trailer. And I think that was
Maybe if you
Adam.
pulled your mic a little closer, I'm
Sorry.
having a hard time hearing you.
Sorry. So right now, we slide in a hot box into a 6-wheel dump truck. And it can hold 5 ton of asphalt. But we rarely are able to put out 5 ton of hot mix in one day. So and we have other safety issues with it as well. It is very high. So the crew are shoveling at a very high, unsafe level. So what I'm suggesting is that we go back to our hot box. It's a dump trailer. So it is on a trailer, and it lifts. It is only a 3-ton trailer, much more reasonable amount of asphalt that we can get done in a day. We want to clean it out every day. This is
a trailer that can also be pulled by a pickup instead of having to use a six-wheel dump truck. It is a low-profile hot box, which means that they can see the workers in the back of the hot box from the truck. Another safety issue where when you're working in the back of a six-wheel dump truck, you can't see what's behind you. So all of these safety issues are things that we've kind of looked at over the years, and we came up with a recommendation for a STEP SPHD 2.0, which is the 3-ton hot box. It is oil jacketed, so it means that you have the burners, and the burners are heating up the oil, and that surrounds the hot mix. So you're not heating the hot mix itself, and that's kind of drying it out throughout the day. So this is a bit of an improvement for a hot box. We did get 4 bids, and the one that I would like to recommend is not actually the low bid. The 2 lower bids were a Falcon 3-ton oil jacketed for $46,925,000. It doesn't have all of the features that we'd like. It also is not as low profile. It doesn't come with a lift right now. Some of the concerns were also our tools that we use on the hot box. Right now, again, putting it into a 6-ton, 6-wheel, we have to follow it with another vehicle with all our tools in it. So with the hot box on the trailer, we can fit all our tools on it. We were looking for a lift for the compactor. The compactor is very heavy. It comes, the step comes with a hydraulic, electric compactor lift. So it will carry the compactor, you get to your spot, and it will lower the compactor. Also, it comes with a platform that you can stand on at the front of the trailer, where you can clean out the hot box and access it. Right now, again, we're up in the top of a 6-wheel dump truck. We're on stair towers. We have to take it out of the truck to service it. It's just not a safe situation for cleaning. Where the Falcon doesn't come with that and it has a much higher profile, again, that is my recommendation for the STEP 2.0. Second low bidder was a Viking Sibs with a Spalding. We currently have a Spalding. We have had issues with parts availability and customer service for the Spalding, so I'm not going to recommend that. And where it's only $25 cheaper than the STEP 2.0, the Highway Division would like to recommend the J.C. Madigan at $53,475 for the STEP 2.0.
Thank you, Lord. Are there any,
Questions?
are there a lot of, do these have many problems, especially in the early years? Because I noticed the warranty of the lowest bid was 2 years, and I didn't know if that is something that really is not a big deal.
We've been able to fix most of our,
I don't, without, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Comments?
So, just because I didn't feel like you gave a very good description for the public, what is your hot box dump trailer being used for?
So we use the hot box. It's for every day that we go out to fill potholes, patch curb. We'll patch our drain catch basin repairs.
So it contains tar?
Yes, it contains the asphalt that is used.
sorry.
And it's a hot
Hot
mix.
asphalt.
Yep.
It's not a
As
cold
opposed to cold
compact.
patch. Yeah.
It's for, it helps when when you're patching a hole. We also, if you look at, sometimes, I don't know if they use this, but when the strips that we did for that, they would use something similar to this, and that's what they would store the hot mix in it so they can work it in. So it would be like, instead of getting you see those Continental paving trucks, the 8-10 wheelers, and they drop it in, we have a hot box machine that we
Small
store it in
scale.
because the smaller scale,
Sorry.
because we're going from job site to job site to job site to job site. We're not just paving a mile of road. We're doing smaller jobs with it, and it keeps the asphalt mix hot, pliable, so that we can get it into the potholes. That's what a hot box
Sorry.
is.
And you said something about a compressor, that's those big multi-wheel,
Compactor,
big,
yep.
big, heavy rolling things that press that asphalt down into the patches.
This
I'm
one,
trying to make this as simplified as possible so that we all have a very clear idea of what you're talking about.
absolutely, sorry, I should have started with how to patch a pothole.
But we have that compressor or whatever you
We
call
have
it?
the compactor already, yes. And
compactor.
right now, because it's on the six-wheel dump truck, we fabricated a holder in the front. It attaches to
Oh.
our plow attachment.
It's,
And-
it's a regular compactor that you'll see a landscaper when he does a walkway.
not a roller.
It's not a roller. It's
Right.
not the roller. It's a regular compactor that you would compact.
That-
A landscaper
that bounces
just
up and
bounces
down
up and down,
compact?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It's not a
And
job that
and
you
that's
want all
something that'll
day.
go on this trailer as
exactly
well?
what
That will go
also
on this trailer
part
as
of
well.
the tool set?
Yeah, along with our tools, it has a tool holder.
And how often do we use this?
We use this very often during the summer months. Hot asphalt's available from April 1 to, with this, probably the end of December. We'll use it straight through those months.
Okay, I work out of town, so I don't see you guys out there on the streets doing that. And so all I see is when Continental comes in and does bag jobs or when people get their driveways done. But you're out there patching
We're patching potholes, curb,
throughout the summer.
catch basins,
And
yep.
and it holds much better than the cold patch.
Yeah.
So cold patch, we use in the winter when the hot plants close.
Close, yeah.
It's not available, hot mix is not available.
Right.
And that's when the guys have to be out with those flamethrowers to heat it up, or?
We use a performance cold patch, yeah, well, we dry out the hole. We'll dry the water out of the hole, we're not heating it. It's meant to be used as cold, but we're just kind of drying the hole out before we put the cold patch in.
For the adhesion,
Purposes. Pardon?
for adhesion.
Oh,
If you have water
We-
there, it
You
doesn't
just don't
work
water,
well.
Yeah.
freeze the ice, we'll pop it.
that'll just
Right back
pop it
up.
right out, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so basically it's to support your hot asphalt street
Operations.
repair
Yes.
efforts. Thank you.
All right.
Sounds like a good plan.
On that note, what's the pleasure of the council?
I move approval, oh, jeez, of purchasing, of replacing the 2014 Spalding Hot Box for the Highway Division and approve the withdrawal of $53,475 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of that replacement hot box dump trailer, and authorize the town manager to sign any documents necessary.
Second.
Motion by Tom Koenig, second by Jennifer. Any further discussion? Call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Item 3 under new business, the council to consider the Public Works Highways Division's request to withdraw up to $181,324 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a replacement 2025 Freightliner with a Terex High Ranger XT Pro or 60 aerial lift. Sorry, I was a little disjointed, wasn't it? But you know what I meant. So, thank you, Lori.
I'll explain. Okay, so our bucket truck is the truck that we use to trim trees around. It's an aerial lift. Right now, it is a piecemealed truck. It's a 2006 International with a 1990 Versalift aerial lift on it. We repurposed the aerial lift from an earlier truck that failed, and now at this point, we can no longer get repair parts for the Versalift to repair it. It's definitely showing its age, and don't know that it will pass inspection this year. So we put it in the CIP, put it out to bid. We use this truck very often. Around town, you will see this. It's almost out daily during good weather to trim trees. So we put it out to bid, got 3 bids. And at this point, due to the condition of the current truck, availability was a concern. But the low bid did come back in with Custom Truck One Source with a 2025 Freightliner with the 2024 Terex High Ranger XT Pro. It is available within 30 days of getting a PO, and they do not want our trade-in. But that's okay, we can try.
Well, we'll send it up to auction. We'll
Sell
send
it
it up
up
to the White
to
Farm for auction, so.
Still had a lower bid, so.
Yeah.
They still were lower, yes. And they have availability, so that is what we are recommending for purchase for replacement of our bucket truck.
And this is something,
Yep, absolutely.
this is something you're gonna use throughout the winter, or, because you needed it in 30 days, is that what that I heard?
We do use it throughout the winter. It's a year-round, definitely, especially with these high winds. It's a piece of equipment that's vital.
The only thing this truck does not do is put a plow, we don't put a plow on this truck. So it will not plow streets, but if there's an ice storm and we gotta go cut branches, this truck will be out on the road. So it's used all year round. It doesn't just sit in the yard in the winter. It just will not plow snow. We don't put a plow on it to plow snow.
But we're not cutting branches over wires and stuff like that, right?
We don't come within 10 feet of wires.
Right, that's the power company handles that.
Right.
So
We'll
what kind
hire,
of
yeah.
situations do you come across where you need to go out and cut branches? Just an example.
We trim within the right-of-way. There's lots of neighborhoods that don't have overhead wires. We can trim on the other side of the road. We trim within the parks. And along all, we like to clear the roadways as much as we can to get as much sunlight onto the road as we can for the winter. For the winter, we like to make sure that the sunlight gets to the road and clear and melts the snow, so we like to keep that umbrella clear.
Oh, okay, thank you.
What is a life expectancy of this equipment?
For us,
Yeah.
it should be, we'll easily be able to get 18 years out of it.
Stored outside, inside?
It's stored under the salt shed outside during the winter, but in the summer, it's inside.
Oh, great. Perfect. Does anybody have any questions?
Is this truck all you need, or do you need extra equipment to go on it, to go
Nope,
with it?
it's
or-
coming with everything we need.
Okay. And you have all the saws and everything you need to do the cutting? That's not
Yes.
part of the truck?
Correct.
Buy a fire truck and it takes another $100,000 to outfit the dang thing, so I was just wondering.
No, this comes
And
with
2
all
years
the
to get.
toolboxes. We'll take the hydraulic saw that we have and attach it to this one.
Okay, thank you.
What's the pleasure of the council?
It's Andy's turn.
And Nancy's protesting, just for the general public to know.
Like to make a motion to approve the Highway Division's request to withdraw $181,324 from the Highway Capital Reserve Fund for the purchase of a replacement 2025 Freightliner with a T-Rex High Ranger XT Pro 60 aerial lift, and to authorize town manager to sign any and all necessary documents.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Andy, seconded by Jennifer. Feel free, if you want to make a motion, just call it out. I definitely don't mind. If I'm not looking over there, it's not on purpose. So if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. All right, number 4 under new business, the council will consider the acceptance of a donated raffle prize of a 14-inch Makita power cutter kit with 4 batteries with an estimated value of $2,699 from Turf Depot to the Public Works Highway Division pursuant to RSA 31:95E and Charter Article 8, Section 15. This is a nice one,
Nice, isn't it?
yes.
So unbeknownst to us, we were entered into a raffle in the month of September by Turf Depot, who is a company that we purchase a lot of our landscape equipment repairs. So we purchased a set of blades for a couple Exmark mowers, and we were entered into a raffle. Anybody that spent over $500 was entered in. And we got a phone call and said that we were the winners. We use cutoff saws. We don't have one that's battery powered, so that will be kind of exciting to see how the battery power works out. But it's definitely a useful piece of equipment we can use to, it cuts through concrete, masonry, rebar, and metals, so it's something that we could definitely use.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's not something, yeah.
Nancy?
I'd like to make a motion.
I would love for you to make a motion.
Thank you. The motion, I move to accept a donated raffle prize of a 14-inch Makita power cutter kit with 4 batteries with an estimated value of $2,699 from Turf Depot to the Public Works Highway Division pursuant to RSA 31:95-E and Charter Article 8-15.
Second.
Motion by Nancy Murphy, seconded by Tom. If there's any further discussion, if there's no further discussion, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstain? 6-0-0. Mackenzie stepped out for just a moment. Thank you, Lori. We're good. Next item is the minutes, October 10th minutes, which were tabled from the October 24th meeting, so we have to move those from the table.
So moved.
Motion by Jennifer, second by Nancy Murphy. All those in favor of the untabling motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, 6-0-0. All right.
There was a motion on the floor, is that right?
It was to take it off the
Take it
table.
off the table.
Yep. I thought you meant from the last meeting. I'm going, I don't
I
think
didn't
so.
hear what you were saying, I'm sorry.
Oh, I
So,
apologize.
That's,
Yes, no, it was tabled at our last meeting. So, why did we table it? Was it time? I can't even remember.
It was tabled because it was more of a
Oh, that's right.
PowerPoint presentation minutes than a conversation, like you guys,
Nope. I
the council
remember.
did not discuss any of these votes, it was just, we
Yeah,
wanted it to reflect it more, and I believe that our minute taker listened and took it to heart and did change them around a little bit.
and added some more comments in there, which was
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Which is why it's 14 pages.
Well, she included all the PowerPoint
Oh,
stuff
I
too, which
understand, but it's just-
oftentimes we don't, but that could be included by reference usually. But anyway, that's awesome. I didn't have anything in it that I felt needed to be argued about.
Yeah.
perfect. I know I can count on him.
Hmm?
I know I can count on him, and that's perfect. So,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of October 10th as presented.
motion by Andy,
Second?
second by Jennifer. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 6-0-0. Our October 24th minutes. I don't know if anybody has anything on those.
I had one comment, if I could, on that one, on page 8 of 11, around line 18, 19, 20. It says, Town Clerk Tax Collector Brenda DeLong was then present to share that the entrance will be off of the parking lot. It doesn't say the entrance to what or where, so if we were to include in it that for the middle school, the entrance will be off the parking lot, comes across a little clearer, because that's what she was
The middle school polling.
polling place. Yeah. So just to share that the entrance for the middle school polling location will be off of the parking lot.
Yep.
Would be a way to reword that.
Okay.
And that's the only comment I had.
I had one minor on page 5, line 47. It says, ruling that wouldn't allow communities to find impact fees. I'm thinking fine should maybe be assess.
What line are you on, sorry?
47, second to the
47.
last.
Yeah. To assess, yes.
Yeah, something wrong with that, huh?
That's all I found.
Alrighty. Mackenzie, we're on the October 24th minutes. Did you have anything?
No.
Nope. All right. That's it. John,
Make a motion?
please.
Make a motion to accept the public meeting minutes from October 24th
Motion
with
with
changes.
changes. Motion by Jennifer, second by Andy. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained? 700. Comments from the press? See no one here. Comments from the public? And comments from the council? I just, I have had the privilege of sitting on the Highway Safety Committee for quite a few years now, and member Robert LaRue today, after 43 years, has moved on from the position. So they had given him a nice plaque, which I didn't see that part, but I was happy that he had all those years. I was quite surprised that he was moving on. But thank him for all he's done. Jennifer?
I just wanted to mention I attended the first day of the Municipal Association Conference last Wednesday, and I just wanted to say thanks to Paul and members of his staff for attending, so they can keep up to date on all of the varied topics that were covered. Also wanted to share a reminder from the Conservation Commission that it's hunting season, and to be sure to wear blaze orange if you're out on the properties where hunting is allowed.
Very good. Thank you, Jennifer. Anything further, Nancy?
I just wanted to add, on, what day it was, Monday, I attended the New Hampshire Governor's Highway Traffic Safety Conference in Concord, along with our police chief and deputy chief, and learned that day there was a lot of statistics around impaired driving and the impact on the state. And in 2023, 127 lives were lost due to impaired driving, all preventable deaths. There were a lot of initiatives talked about and discussed, and I just wanted to thank Dave and Lynn Croak, who came and delivered a victim impact presentation about their daughter, Lizzie. I had met them first when they came before our Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee in the House. And they've worked really hard to prevent impaired drivers from getting behind the wheel, and for establishments for really having some responsibility around serving alcohol to people that they shouldn't. So it was heartbreaking as it was then, and really hard for them to come and do that. But I want to thank them, and that their testimony really made a difference. It made a difference in state law, and I'm sure it impacted. It was a very well-attended conference, so I wanted to thank them too.
Thanks. Thank you, Nancy. Tom?
Yeah, I just, excuse me, wanted to say thanks or congratulations to our newly elected state reps and also to our re-elected state reps. And also thank you to the town of Merrimack for coming out to vote, adding my voice to Paul's and Nancy's and everybody's, I'm sure. It was quite an election. There was a lot of people, but I think it went fairly smoothly. And I know where I was most of the day at St. John Newman, it was handled very nicely. And I appreciate all the work the town staff put into it and all of the understanding that the people of the town of Merrimack had with some lines here and there, but never totally extensive ones to make the news. So, thanks, guys.
Yes, the longest line were those new registrants. 18, whatever Paul had said, 1,800 and some, yeah.
1,810. The line was an hour and a half at one point at the upper elementary school.
Yep,
And people stood in it. Nice, courteous.
yeah.
Thank God it was a nice day.
It was a nice day, but people were really courteous. They weren't aggressive or rude or impatient. It was very courteous, and I saw that all day long. The
Right.
parking lot here at Town Hall was filled. People were coming in. They were letting people take the left into Town Hall. They weren't right on the guy in front of them, like, I got to get out, that extra 3 seconds. People were courteous, and that's one, I was impressed. I was very impressed.
Excellent. So if there's no further business,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by
I will do
Nancy
that.
Harrington, seconded by Tom Koenig. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstained, 700. Thank you very much.